Republican Party for a more measured view.
So we've had this invasion, and it's really turned this town upside down.
You mean from Governor Abbott, from the 13 out-of-state Republican governors, news media such as myself?
No, I'm talking about the illegals. The wetbacks.
And, I'm sorry, what did you call them?
Wetbacks?
Wetbacks. Man, I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Okay, now that you've gotten that out of her system, I was ready for a more nuanced conversation.
We just want them to come legally through the front door.
Calling them wetbacks to me is not a we welcome you here.
I want them to come legally. That's what I want. So they aren't wetbacks. So they don't have to swim the river. They wouldn't be wetbacks if they didn't.
Wow. I mean, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it, guys? Her logic is sound. I mean, if you swim across the Rio Grande, your back's gonna get wet. So we just want you to be dry. Be dry backs. Come through the front gate.
I never do anything dry.
Did you guys hear all that traffic that was going by in the background? Somebody should have pushed her in front of it. Just saying. Just saying.
Oh, this racism is killing me.
That's racist.
All this racism is killing me.
Wow. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome wetbacks. Welcome drybacks.
Goobacks.
Welcome
Go backs.
Welcome rightbacks.
Backs.
Wait, no, never mind. We don't like him.
No, that's that Goldberg ripoff, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. In football, you have
Running back.
running back. So welcome running backs.
Welcome barebacks.
Jack Black.
Welcome bareback. Wait, that's something entirely different.
Malachi Black.
Malachi Black.
What you mean, Black?
Empire Straight Back. We welcome.
Oh
you
my
as well.
God. Return of the Mac. Wait, I went too far.
Yeah, that's the shark. You jumped it.
Yeah.
What was that lady's name?
Susan Boyle. No, I'm kidding. Susan
Boyle. She was a wonderful singer, bro. Why you got to ruin her memory like that?
What was her name? Hold on. Oh, Sandy Sassano.
Sandy Sassano. You're
Sandy
fired.
fucking Sassano.
You're
No, she's
fired.
not. She's in Texas. She's fine.
No, she's
Of course
fired.
she's in Texas.
She's a Texan.
It's
She's
the only
fine.
place you could get away with that in Alabama.
Hey, for my 3 Texan listeners, I'm sorry, but your state
Oh
is
no,
racist.
they know.
They know.
Texas knows.
It's like, remember in that movie Basketball when they're playing Texas, and then they're like, all right, let's get him. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck the Mexicans. It's like, the fuck. That's Texas.
You know what?
Deep in the heart of Texas.
Texas knows. Like, if you go to Texas and you talk to people in Texas, they know.
Oh, they know.
But they still partake.
You know how there's like sore losers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Texas is a sore winner because they fucking won. They took Mexico. The Mexican-American War. They took Mexico, California, and yet they're still there.
No. You know what it is?
Flipping off the Mexicans, saying "fuck Mexico." It's
No,
like,
here's what happened. This is, I think, the mentality. So they said they won. They said, fuck Mexico. They took over, right? And then they're like, yeah, we're going to be our own nation. And they were their own nation. And they're like, oh, we're broke. Fuck. Hey, America, can we be part of America? United States? Hey. And then they joined. So that bitter pill of not being able to support themselves. And even to this day, they can't support themselves. That's why they're fucking like, oh, fuck the Mexicans. Because they have to out-project their own insecurities.
The other part is that they
don't even have a good energy grid.
They took the biggest state. So, like, you were doomed to fail from your greed.
Are they the largest? I thought Alaska was the largest.
so okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean,
Alaska's bigger than Mexico? I mean, than Texas?
I believe so, no?
I don't think.
Well, there's not as
No?
many people there. So,
Well, yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, so, like,
If only there
I
was
don't
a
count it.
portal of information,
Mister,
we can find out. you know?
I
Some
will,
access
Mr.
to
Enrique,
the web,
can you look into that?
some type of world kind of wide string thing, like a net or something. I don't know.
like a
like a
spider
fishnet?
web,
Or a spider web, maybe.
like
Let me see.
like a web.
Alaska's bigger than Texas.
There you go. But less population, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, even in like and it's actually quite big. Alaska's quite bigger. There's a lot more surface area. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
something like 3 times 1 wider.
You know what? It's actually on my bucket list to go to Alaska.
Me too.
I don't know if there's a lot of people who would go, but
I would.
I definitely would go.
There are excursions. There's a particular area too, like way, like right at the tippity top of Alaska, on the north side, that you can
Next to Sarah Palin.
no, it's supposed to be like the most remote part that you can get to that is still civilized with a road, because anything beyond that you're like now in the Arctics, right? And there's no roads or whatever. But yeah, there are excursions and everything. You know, funny enough, you know what the most popular snack up there is in the coldest areas?
Whale blubber.
Ice cream.
Oh yeah,
Ice cream.
that's me. I like ice cream when it's cold.
That's
Blew my mind. I thought you were gonna say hot Cheetos.
ice cream.
You know, there's a place in Alaska that I'm kind of like intrigued with because it bears the name of the same place I live, which is Whittier, Alaska. Have you guys heard of Whittier, Alaska?
I've never heard of Whittier, Alaska.
Whittier, Alaska is a town that they all live in one building.
Wow.
It's one huge complex. No one ever leaves that.
They're that cold.
Yeah, they're in the middle of nowhere, so they have this one big, like it looks like a Marriott hotel. I think it's like I don't remember how many floors. It's a lot of floors. It's like a big complex, right? And everything's in there. The city hall, the shops, everything are in. No one actually leaves that building.
Do you think in that Marriott they have body moisturizer? Just like that clip you played off there.
They make it.
Maybe. I hope so.
They probably make it.
Because if
you
I
believe
made a
it?
deal with the devil, I would be more successful too, and I wouldn't be staying at a Marriott.
But you'd be in Whittier, Alaska.
I would be in Whittier, Alaska. Yeah.
Dang, dude. No, it's intriguing for me. Like everyone just living in one fucking building.
Nah.
And I've seen videos on YouTube where like
Yeah, I've seen videos too. They're called compounds. And last time someone drank the Kool-Aid, that's not cool.
David Koresh, you mean?
Well, okay, so I've been in lockup, and so like I know.
Look at the fugitive over here. Though.
Okay,
That explains
He's
the
in one
teardrop.
time, and all of a sudden he's like, that's why he has that little teardrop tattoo and everything, dude.
Shut up. No, you know what, dude? Like,
Give me some chung chung.
Oh, man. Actually, the first night I was there, the guy that was bunking next to me looked like that guy.
Oh man,
But here's the thing, though, like
he wasn't that good.
Like 'cause all the bunk beds are like lined up. I mean, dude, it's like it's a dormitory, but I mean it's all cement. Dude, it's a really oppressive thing. But so the guy looked like Popeye, like the dude, right? And he and like he was talking to me, but dude, the next day he was gone, and I found out that he apparently had a staph infection. I never saw him again, so I don't know what happened to him.
Staph infection.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude. I mean, apparently that's really common in jail, like staph infections, and yeah. I mean, a common cause of death in most of these lockups is staph infection or some type of viral infection, because people are in close proximity, and just after the food that you eat, everyone treats it like a communal thing. Like, especially if you're like, you have to connect with people. Otherwise, like, so part of a group. In this case, I told the story before where I had to like claim I was a paisa, which is a generic term for like all Latins who are not gang affiliated, and you have to claim that. And so as part of that group, in the night, you'd have to bring all your food. And if you had like noodles and stuff, stuff that you get from the commissary for your points, then you would make like a prison food, which you can find tons of YouTube videos of people making this type of prison food. So if for example, prison pozole, prison menudo, it's crazy, dude. Or prison spaghetti is disgusting, dude. Ketchup and noodle, it's disgusting. But anyways,
You were there just for one weekend?
I was there actually for 5 days. Well, because see, I was taken in on a Wednesday.
Summer camp.
Yeah, I was taken to the Twin Towers on Wednesday, and there's no judge that's going to see me. So I got cycled through, and then by Thursday I was at I guess they call it Wayside. It's out by where Magic Mountain at near Bakersfield.
Dang, Enrique's got street cred.
Dude, I had to get naked in front of these officers in big lineups and show off my asshole. Yeah, I got the street cred.
Dude, but on top of that, it's like, okay, so they're checking your ass up, but they can't check you for diseases, and you still get strapped in there.
That's the crazy part.
That's the thing. Once you're in there, dude, like you're just one amongst. Dude, it's truly overcrowded and stuff. That was the original reason I brought this up, because you guys are talking about, a bunch of people in one room, dude. I've done that, and it's it's oppressive and disgusting. It's horrible. No people should live that way. But hey, if you're a criminal and you deserve to be there, then no sympathy. But I was there because I didn't pay my friggin' license and it got suspended, and a bench warrant was put out. I didn't it wasn't delivered to me. It was, dude, I didn't even know what court. Even for example, after I got out 5 days later, Nicole, Lewis's wife, took me to go and pay off that ticket, and even there they couldn't find a record of it. They just had the bench warrant, but they couldn't find a record of it. So I ended up not paying for a ticket.
That's nonsense. You shouldn't.
It was a mess.
You shouldn't get a bench warrant for
a ticket.
Yeah, for
shout out Nicole. Love you for that. Thank you.
Especially for any sort of traffic violation.
It's stupid how they bundle it up with actual illegal shit. It's you fucking didn't pay your stop sign ticket, and
we gotta process you.
You're going in. As your bunkmate is like a fucking rapist.
So
and
how
shit.
that happens is because so once you have a bench warrant, there's a monetary value put on it. Right, because obviously, as part of the system,
because America.
Well, as part of the system, they have to put a monetary value so that if, for example, you need to go pay bail or somebody wants to come in and collect you, they've monetized it. So now people, all these different bounty hunters can go do that.
Dog, the bounty hunter.
Yeah, I mean that system exists.
Dog, the big bad dog.
Those guys exist because the system. Has monetized it. So what happened was my bench warrant, I think, was above $9,000.
It's over 9,000.
Over 9,000. And so bottom line, that's why they got me, because that was there, and it was worth bringing me in for it.
But I would question policymakers, lawmakers. How much does it cost to process a person? Because if it's more than that, then you've just cost us money for nothing.
Well,
especially
it doesn't go that far, because the policymakers, they're like, well, okay, we're gonna allow this because we get a kickback out of it. Let's be honest. And then come on, the more in politics you are, I think the starting for politics is like 150,000 or something like that a year.
Oh, you mean?
And then it goes, the salary.
Yeah.
They've got it comfortable.
Well, okay. So to follow Doyle's thread of news on that one, so dude, then throughout the whole process, there were different checkpoints, and everybody there needs to get paid to do those checkpoints. On top of that, dude, the amount of food, I can't tell you how many friggin' peanut butter sandwiches and stuff were being shoved our way. In fact, one of the police officers had yelled at a guy and said, "If you don't knock that shit off, I'm gonna pump you full of the peanut butter sandwiches so you won't be able to shit for a week." That sort of thing, because that's the thing. They're constantly, so dude, obviously, there's a lot of money being put into this. I mean, it's
prisons for profit is a term that's used for most of those, and it's sad because they go after minorities. They don't only
that was something we were going to mention in the hip hop episode that we recently did, because there was that.
Shout out Prime.
Yeah, shout out Prime. There was this secret meeting where they approached all the hip hop moguls and said, "Hey, we want to move hip hop in this direction." This is an alleged thing.
It's called jail pop.
But they wanted all the music executives to start moving towards more hardcore messaging, because they wanted people to kind of be programmed into doing more criminal activity so that they could populate the prisons. And there's this alleged, you guys can look this up on Google if you want to, but there's an alleged mogul who is a whistleblower to this meeting in the 90s or in the late 80s when they were going to start building privatized prisons. And so they were allowing everyone to invest and join in on these privatized prisons. Now, the story, when you start hearing other little details, like from NWA and the involvement of the FBI and the CIA and their lyric writing and some of the censorship that we've had in music, it seems plausible.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna put it on the board and say, yeah, for later. I'm not gonna die on a molehill trying to.
I not to change the subject, but it reminds me. Again, shout out to Prime. That episode that we just recently put out. Angel had asked an interesting question at the end about are some lyrics.
That wasn't me. It was Doyle.
Oh, did you? But
Yeah.
you did say something about I forgot. It was like I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again. Well, anyways, we were talking.
Doyle asked if rap was always gay.
A little.
Gay.
But you made a comment. I remember that. Anyways, that's fine. Thank you. But the point is, though, is that there was a line. When we were talking about the rap battles that Cannabis had said that I completely forgot about. I kind of think I might have hinted at it, but the line was, he said, "You ain't got the skills to eat a N-word ass like me." Right now,
You did mention it.
There was a video recently where in a podcast where they asked him and he was laughing about it, right? And he himself said, like, look, man, at the time, like that wouldn't have been considered that. In fact, from a thread that I saw on Twitter, like I said, this was back before rap. Where like rap, N-words were fruity and faggy like they are now. He goes, that shit could fly because we all knew he was speaking metaphorically. So back in the 90s, because that song came out like in 98, I think. Like supposedly that, but I mean, dude, seriously, now looking back on words like that, I think that we can look back on words like that and think like, yeah, that's kind of sus, but
there was a whole if you guys are more interested in like these sus rap lyrics, there's a great video by a guy named Gully Boy, and he does like the most sus lyrics of all time, and it's a good watch. He's pretty funny, so if you're interested. But
I will.
So speaking of over 9,000
Flying Nimbus.
Moment of silence, guys.
So we had another episode scheduled for release this morning, but I've decided to push it back because this was way more important to us.
I was busy collecting Dragon Balls.
Hopefully trying to bring them
I
back.
was trying to bring them back.
So
I only got the 2-star.
as Enrique broke the news to me on Thursday, Akira Toriyama passed away at the age of 68.
International treasure.
Fucking world global treasure.
Yes,
fucking
sir.
That guy made my teenage years amazing, or even some of my childhood, from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, Dr. Slump, Sandland, and everything in between. That guy, Chrono Trigger,
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
Not Final. Sorry,
No, Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest.
Yeah. Oh, Blue Dragon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a great game.
Great game, Blue Dragon.
Fun fact, I've never played Blue Dragon or Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest, I played it when it was known as Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, same here.
And I loved it. It was my first major RPG.
It's what got me into RPGs.
Yeah, me too.
I was
first game, man.
completely amazed. I mean, I must have been like 10 years old. And how can a 10-year-old, like going back, if you play Dragon Warrior, you'd be like, how can a 10-year-old's attention be captured by this game? Because it really is kind of boring at the core. But I remember the artwork inside. Like the box was generic on our end, like the American box.
The American box was the back of this like wannabe Dungeons and Dragons blue armored figure with a red blow or something, and then a big dragon in front of him. It was really
fun fact.
generic.
It's one of those first examples of what's become popular now, and people talk. It's that heroic hero standing in front of something with his back turned to the audience. It's like in video game boxes, you see it in Call of Duty and in BioShock, and people have made fun of it to no end. But unfortunately,
they were the first.
But unfortunately, we never got the Japanese one, which in a Nintendo Power, if I remember, is where I first saw the artwork,
which is amazing,
for Dragon Warrior from Akira Toriyama, and thinking like, what is this? And it was his artwork and the little slimes, the iconic slimes from that game
are all
his, and it was his artwork. And who is this guy? That was my first exposure to him. Didn't know who his name was, and it wouldn't be until later on when I got introduced to Dragon Ball that I was like I was making this mental connection. Like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. He's copying that artwork.
Yeah, and you're like, oh wait, he didn't copy it. It's his.
That's right.
Well, that was the case with me as well. I saw that, and then I did not know I had seen something else, which was some art I don't remember where, of Dr. Slump, Arale and all that. I had seen that, but I didn't know it was correlated. Then, of course, as we talked about in our Dragon Ball episode, I fell in love with Dragon Ball when I was visiting relatives in Mexicali, because that was like on repeat in Mexicali. And it's funny enough, like I was texting Glam Vamp the other day because we were talking about Akira Toriyama, and she said the same thing. She goes, "That's how I discovered it in Mexicali." So I'm like, "Hey man, shout out to Glam Vamp. We have that in common." But I think it did make me get heavily into anime. Because I remember you and me when we were in school, you told me, dude, you would love anime. You should get into it.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, whatever. But Dragon Ball is the one who made me go over the top. And then also, I wouldn't have actually started a relationship with Doyle. I wouldn't have started a relationship with George, because that was our bonding experience.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So we owe a lot to fucking Toriyama.
Yeah.
Ouchcast, if you look at the Inky, he has a very, very Toriyama-esque feel to him.
I don't think I would have ever learned to draw if it wasn't for Dragon Ball and Toriyama, because I sucked at drawing humans.
Yeah.
And Toriyama was my gateway to being able to draw people.
Yeah.
And it was mind blowing on the last episode. I grew up and I played Chrono Trigger, and I love that game.
That game's
absolutely top 10 of all time games ever. And
the art has a lot to do with it.
I also grew up loving Dragon Ball and never knew that they were both done by the same person. I always said, like, wow, Chrono really looks like Goku. It's kind of weird. But I never put the two together until I think it was the last episode when you said it. And I was like mind blown, because I absolutely, like, throughout the years, I have Chrono Trigger on my phone. That's how much I loved it. And it's one of those things where I've replayed the game probably like 10 times, just because the emotional investment in the characters that you get. There's only a few games that I've ever really felt that, and I feel like that's the MO of Toriyama.
I think you would enjoy Blue Dragon. You should check it out,
I'm gonna put that on my list.
The art is total Toriyama. Like, everything about it is Toriyama. It's a great freaking it's a great story, great game. It is a good game. It's a underappreciated game, in my opinion, and I think it's the most Toriyama of all the games that are out there, including Dragon Quest, including Chrono Trigger. I think he did another one. I don't remember another one he did, but yeah, that's the point. But yeah, with his passing, he inspired so many, and we wouldn't have One Piece, we wouldn't have Naruto, we wouldn't have all these great animes.
None of the shonen genre.
None of the shonens. Yeah, I don't think the impact. I think I can go on record by saying, and of course this is debatable, but in my point of view, I'm gonna say Akira Toriyama was the biggest influence in anime and in animation period since Astro Boy.
He was the Stan Lee.
He was a Stan Lee. Yeah, he was a Stan Lee. Yeah, that's exactly it. He was a Stan Lee, except he was actually the artist. Unlike Stan Lee stealing other people's stealing other people's art. Yeah, but I mean,
I would like to see Akira Toriyama and Stan Lee in a one-on-one fight.
Toriyama would win,
probably.
Yeah, unless it's like young Stan Lee.
Yeah,
then it's like
both at their prime.
Oh, then Stan Lee would win. Have you seen him with his fucking gigolo glasses and mustache and the thing, Stan Lee? And then Toriyama just looked like some kind of like calculator salesman or something.
In his later years, Stan Lee totally became Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. But
Excelsior.
Oh my.
So what do you guys think happens now with because they were just in the middle of a, I know he was redrawing or doing a new manga, right? I mean, they were in the middle of a story.
They were going to do the new anime. They were going to do all of that stuff. But
so some of that stuff was already in motion, and I know he did it. He has what in Japan they call committees, which basically is just a bunch of his proteges who work with him. So, do you think it's going to be kind of like Berserk, where they're going to continue the work with him because they've already have a lot of inspiration, or do you think there's an end that's coming?
Well, they basically his name is escaping me right now, but Dragon Ball Super wasn't all Toriyama,
right?
Someone else took over for the drawing and the art and the story. As a matter of fact, it's rumored that the guy, what's his name, Toshio? No, what's his freaking name?
I will say this: whoever does take over next, I mean, I know like they've always had people who who wanted to step in, and there's fan stories, there's theories, and all these things, but I don't know if whoever takes over truly can ever capture the magic, because there's something about like the creator,
right?
When you have a creator, they understand a depth to things that whoever comes in, they try to emulate what they've seen, but it never recaptures the original magic, because
100%.
they always miss some subtle detail. It'll be like, yeah, they can make Goku do a Kamehameha, but it's just it's lifeless. Like it's just a move. It's just a magic. It's never that moment where he did it against Vegeta, where it's desperation, where it's martial arts, where it's like the technique and the principle, and this is the last moment of the last gasp of like what this character is all about. And because in so many things we've seen that, like in Super was a great series. It was. But it still doesn't capture the original magic of Z.
Yeah.
Because it just misses out on some very basic principle. A friend of mine said, like, this generation sucks. None of the kids have to like work for their transformations anymore. Like, they get transformations like within like a season now, And I was just like, yeah, you have a point. And it's because we've lost the magic of really like character development.
Which was the issue with Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah.
That was the issue. Now here's what I'm gonna. So it is. Someone took over. So Dragon Ball Super is 89% or 90% Toyotaro, and 10% Toriyama. So Toriyama chose him, which is rumored that, remember Dragon Ball AF, the unofficial sequel to Dragon Ball Z back in the days? That was done by a guy called Toybi, but it was never revealed who it was.
Toy Boat.
Toybo. So Toybi did this thing, and Toriyama saw it, and he's like, this guy's really good. And the rumor is, it's never been confirmed, but the rumor is Toybi is Toyotaro. And he took him under his wing. He's like, yeah, dude, you've got it. So every idea, the movie, Dragon Ball Super, the superhero movie, all those movies, it's all Toyotaro. So everything we've seen from Super, it's actually Toyotaro with influence from Toriyama. So he took over, which I remember the reason why he also stopped doing a lot of stuff back in the days is because he was sick. I don't know if it was a heart condition or what was the issue, but that's why he took a step back.
So, there's examples in many different art forms that have long stories that continue, where somebody picks it up and they're successful with it. But there's also a lot of examples where it's failed. The first one that comes to mind is the Dune series, right? Frank Herbert wrote the first 7 books. And mind you, you can argue that the first 7 books, the first one and the second one are the closest to sequels, and everything after that is a continuation of the world. And yes, characters and stories are continued, but there's just so weird. And have you read all those books?
Not all of them, but I think the last one was Children of Dune.
Yeah, and I think it was
Children his? No, Children wasn't.
No, it goes even farther. There's Dune Messiah. There's Chapter House Dune. I mean, dude, there's 7 mainline.
I'm gonna write one. I'm gonna call it Dune.
Well, so here's the thing. Frank Herbert wrote these, and they're so vastly different. Although the ideas and philosophies, or as what Doyle was just speaking to, that heart and soul of the story is still there. That you can accept the journey, you can critique it, not because this doesn't feel like Dune, but more on like, does this make sense? Because the original artist who created that storyline is guiding it, even though he may go in weird ways. However, when you get a new person to come in, like, I think us as fans, our expectation is somehow that they're going to continue that story, and we're more judgmental. So it's very difficult. What happened was, the son of Frank Herbert, Brian Herbert, I believe his name was, and then another guy whose name Kevin J. Anderson, I think is what was his name. He's a very famous like shadow writer. He did a lot of stories within the Star Wars universe.
Wave,
but he ended up taking lead on this particular story along with Brian Herbert, and those stories are really bad. They did a prequel, and long story short, a lot of that heart that Doyle was alluding to was lost in that. And that is for me, an example of a failure in that idea. But
Dragon Ball GT.
A success in that same vein would be all the shadow writers who've continued to do the VC Andrew books. There's a lot. I was
gonna mention VC Andrews.
Yeah. There's a lot of misses in that, but there's a lot of misses in that, but there's a lot of good stories too. And so it's hard to say. I think that
the Tom Clancy ones too.
100%. 100%. Tom Clancy is now just a company.
A label,
because that guy's been dead since what, the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but there's been a lot of good stories, but there have also been a lot of bad stories. So I think the allegedly, I think the common thread here is when a company takes on the writing of or the artistic like lead on a storyline, that's when you get a lot of misfires. But when somebody is handed the reins in a sort of like protege kind of perspective, then you have more potential success, which I think Angel was alluding to in the Dragon Ball universe. So I'm hopeful that this guy, what was his name, Toybi Toyotaro, that he's going to guide whatever happens next, and hopefully it'll be good. But I think it's going to require the fans to really continue to trust and believe in the product. But my guess is there's going to be a lot of judgment there, and it's going to be hard.
Well, Super got judged too.
Well, yeah, there's always that judgment, but it's because we're always looking for something, right? And the spark in what it takes to be something significant or something special, you have to kind of like slow things down, not speed them up. And so anytime you have a series, for example, the beginning of Super was really rough, and the reason it was really rough was, one, the animation wasn't up to par, and then the storytelling, the storytelling just took what we thought was cool at one aspect, and it tried to reintroduce it in a way that we were going to make it palatable, but then it just escalated so fast that like you took a lot of the character building and the story arc behind it. One of the reasons why I have actually loved going back and watching the Namekian saga in Z is because of how much time you spend with these minor characters, Krillin and Gohan. And I mean, Gohan does become a major character like down the line, but in their struggles, you know, these guys just do not have a chance. There's just nothing there for them. You're definitely just waiting on Goku to show up. But it's in the development that you see with like Vegeta, with Bulma, even that episode where Bulma's just like in her little machine trying to get the Dragon Ball like underwater when she fights that giant crab thing. Like these are the types of developments. They're not everyone's favorite episode, but they add so much depth that later on when you see Vegeta scream "My Bulma" when he's fighting against Beerus, it starts to. It's because you understand how important Bulma is.
You've been there from the beginning when he treated her as like he's woman. Make me a sandwich, you know, or like you. The
I
first
need a
time
drying cloth.
You know, the first time that you hear that they have a child that they're into, you're like completely shocked. Like what? Because she was like Bulma was like all about Yamcha, and so you know to get to that point where he does say "My Bulma." It's like it is a payoff for us, the fans, for what 20 years of a toxic relationship that these two have. You know, I mean, forget Joker and Harlequin. Vegeta and Bulma were full on toxic relationship. Although Bulma she wore the pants, man. He needed a strong woman.
I'm gonna push back. I actually think Vegeta and Bulma were healthy. It's Goku and Chi-Chi who are unhealthy.
1,000%.
Goku has put hands on Chi-Chi. He put her through a wall one time.
Oh, that's right.
He's a deadbeat dad. He's
not around. He's no responsibilities. He fucking
man. He's
Goku, go get a job. See ya.
He doesn't really pay attention to her. But Vegeta, since the moment that he finally finally got down with Bulma, there even one time he was gonna go training with Gohan and Goku. He's like, I have to get permission first.
Yeah,
like, that's a husband.
Damn.
That is a husband.
All right, you know what? You just blew my mind.
That's true.
I'm thinking of Goku, and now I realize, dude, he is from the hood. Dude, let's break it down, dude. All he cares about is going out and working out. Like, he wants to fight everybody, right?
And he eats a shitload of.
He eats a shitload of junk food and shit, and that's all he wants to eat. You know, he's proud of his kid, but he doesn't want to be around him. Let's be honest. Dude, you know, he doesn't even kiss her. He's like said, I never kissed her. Like, how the hell did they procreate? Clearly, he didn't kiss her though. I mean,
That's baby mama.
That's a baby mama.
That's a baby mama.
That's why Chichi's so angry.
Yeah.
She's not satisfied.
That's
She's sexually
crazy.
frustrated.
She's sexually frustrated and
She got a bunch
and
of
financially
kids.
frustrated.
And grandpa's the one raising the kid along with like some surrogate
King
dad.
Hawks, yeah.
Dang,
Yikes.
I never put that
Piccolo's fucking doing double duty.
No wonder Dragon Ball is so like popular in the hood, because Goku's the character that like he'll pull up
That's
on
my
anybody.
dad.
He'll pull up on anybody. He's like, "You want to get these hands? What's up? What's up?"
They're ignorant. That's ignorant.
See, Akira Toriyama understood his dude. I just
Akira
saw
Toriyama was a circle.
he was a circle.
circle.
He's a circle.
He's a circle.
I saw this video last night, dude. Apparently, with some of the super episodes, the Mexican government had did like a mass viewing of it in the square in Mexico, because
So
that's
did
how
El
popular
Salvador.
it was, right? And what happened was the Japanese consulate had sent a cease and desist to them, saying, "No, don't do it." And they're like, "Nah, we're gonna do it anyways." And dude, all you see is a sea of Mexican guys and girls, dude, like from the ages of 18 up into the 50s, and all just sitting there like oohing and awing as they're watching this simulcast episode of Dragon Ball Super. I mean, dude, that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, absolutely, he got the hood. He understood our people, man. You know, the Mexican people, the black people, the Asian people. He understood them all.
You got a 360?
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna let you borrow my blue dragon. You got to play it.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a
got-
phenomenal
all right.
game. That is
That's
a really great. You know, you can even watch. There's an anime.
Oh yeah, there's an
There's
anime
an
Blue
anime.
Dragon.
You can-
Okay.
I think you can
Which
watch
is
it
actually
on
pretty good.
Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. Yep.
I think it's on Hulu.
I'll find out right now. But either way, totally worth watching.
I was on offer up right now looking for it. I was gonna
Oh.
buy it.
Well,
So-
if you get it cheap, it's worth worth
They're all
owning.
like $50. So
It's gonna
well, because
only
he
go
just
up.
died.
Yeah,
It's 'cause
it's
he
gonna
died.
go up.
Yeah.
It's gonna go up.
I'm so glad I have a copy of that.
Me too.
but I will say this. You know, Squid Squad, put your hands in the air.
And wave 'em around like you just don't care.
Let's give all our energy to
An energy bomb.
to a spirit bomb for Akira Toriyama. There's been some incredible tributes, out there for him, including, this was pretty cool. They had everybody who's like a hardcore Xenoverse character. I think they coordinated it, and people simulcast it. Like they all took the attribute of Spirit Bomb, and they all just joined fights. And I think it was like at 12 o'clock after he died, everyone is doing the motion to do a Spirit Bomb. Like, and so
Well, it was actually 12 o'clock after it was announced he died, because he
Yes.
actually died March 1st, and it wasn't announced till Thursday,
And-
March 8th or whatever.
And what
it
they
was.
did, they were all in a lobby. So there's there's images online of, like how like you can have like all these people running around like not in a fight. They all took the taunt of doing, giving their energy to a spirit bomb, and they did it all in honor of Toriyama. So that was pretty cool.
That, I'm not gonna lie, dude. That one hurt me.
Yeah.
His death hurt me. It's one of those like.
Sorry
like,
about sending you that bad news, bro. I saw that you were at the Kings game.
I was at the Kings game.
And they won too. It was, I heard it was a pretty good game. Josie and her husband were there.
Oh, they were okay. We Patty was there from QE.
Oh, no
Patty
way.
and Christian were there.
Shout out Patty, shout out Christian.
They don't listen, but
I'm glad they're still
Shout out to them anyways, bro. We shout out to everybody.
So it was my first Kings game. I got tickets through a vendor, and I took my son because we wanted to go. We weren't gonna go because I'm fucking flat broke right now, but I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. So we went. I started having a good time. I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I get the text from Enrique, dude, Akira Toriyama. That I'm like, I pull out my phone and I see it. I'm like, wait, what? And it totally killed my vibe. And I was like, and then my son noticed it, and he's like, what happened? I go, Akira Toriyama died. And I'm thinking it's not going to affect him. And he goes, wait, what? And I said quiet. I go, yeah, he died. He's like, oh, that sucks. That's wow. So I was like, I was actually kind of surprised that he took it that way, because he did get into anime and we did do a lot of anime together. But he confessed to me about mid last year, beginning of last year, that he's like, he's over it. It was a quick phase and he's done. He's not into anime anymore. But he still likes some, like Attack on Titan and Dragon Ball. He still likes Dragon Ball, but everything else is like, I'll watch it on my own time.
Yeah.
And he was like, those are the only ones. So I was not expecting for him to be like, wow, that sucks. I just thought he'd be like, oh, okay. But he was like, he was bummed for a couple minutes. We were both just sitting there and quiet. The game's going on. We're just
They
quiet.
score
I'm
a
like,
goal. Everybody's like, yeah. You guys are like,
Yeah, no, no. The game was like it was my first time going, and I expected it different. Will I go again? Yes. Did I think it was better, say, than a Dodger game? No. I prefer Dodger games 100%. If I can get tickets to Dodgers, I think I'd be there all the time now. Which is funny because growing up, I was not a football or I wasn't a sports guy. I was just a football guy.
They're about to be priced out of my league.
They are priced out of my league. They're fucking expensive, dude. They are fucking expensive. But yeah, that's why I said if I can get free tickets. But
So the anime is on Hulu, and you can also watch it for free on Tubi. Blue Dragon.
There you go.
Yeah, totally watch it.
Yeah, Hulu.
Worth watching.
Totally worth watching, dude. Tubi. Or not to be.
Also, on eBay, the game's trending like for the Xbox 360 about $25. Shipping about $30. So you can still get it for a reasonable price.
Okay, that's not bad. I'll still borrow.
You can do better. I'll let you borrow.
I'll borrow.
Yeah, borrow it.
If I can find it, once the hype calms down.
Yeah, right now everyone's getting because he died and they're trying to like homage and shit. I'll just next recording I'll bring it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was also a sequel, right? There was a Blue Dragon 2.
They were talking about.
It was called Blue Pill.
It was called Blue Hill.
I think I'm mistaking it for Nino Kuni.
Yeah, Nino Kuni 1 and 2.
yeah.
Those are great for Studio Ghibli.
Yeah,
Ghibli.
Yeah. So that had a sequel. So
that had a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But Blue Dragon, they said they were going to make it and they never made it. So, but it's great.
That's the thing about all of Toriyama's work. I would honestly say it inspires sequels.
Yeah. Did Sandland ever come out? They were doing that as a movie, Sandland. You guys know Sandland, right?
No, what is that?
Sandland was a manga that he did about this little devil or little demon living in this post-apocalyptic future. It was actually a great... I have it. I'll let you borrow it.
Please.
I'm going to let you borrow it. It's a great little
Put it on the list of all the other things you're going to let me borrow.
I got to remember, but that one's at my mom's house. That's going to be kind of hard. I have to go get it.
Yeah. But sounds like fun.
I have that, and I have almost all the Dr. Slump except for issue 1 because I lent it to my godson years ago, and he never got it back to me. So anyway, Sandland was this story about this. He also had Nico-chan. Remember that one? The cat?
Yeah. That I do know. That one I do know.
Yeah, that one. God damn it. Sorry. I'm just like going down
the
list of stuff. It's like, dude, we will never have that beautiful mind again.
Yeah, but he inspired a lot of. Go down the list of other animes that have been inspired by it. Really great stuff. I mean, up all the way up into Chainsaw Man. Like all of these were inspired by his work. Some My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Naruto. So many, and so
One Piece.
So while Dragon Ball Z will continue. Let's be honest, Dragon Ball will continue in one way or the other. And us as
just
fans
like
are either
Astro
gonna
Boy
accept
did.
it. Yeah, we're either going to accept it or we're going to reject it. But it's going to continue. We know that he's gone, but his influence lives on in every other anime that we may or may not like now. So I'm really sad that he's gone. In the same way that I was sad when the guy who did Berserk died. Like that one hurt me because his story was he was integral to his story in Berserk. And so when he died, my instinct was like, I'm never going to get to know what happens. And while there is a guy who's leading the ship, and so far it seems to be doing really well, and the storylines seem to be good, in my heart, I know that it's not going to be his story. It's
kind of like, remember when the creator of Crayon Shin-chan died?
Yes.
Which was a very tragic death, by the way, falling off a ravine or a cliff or something.
Yeah.
That's sad. And they just stopped the whole process, the whole storyline and everything. It just
they couldn't pick it up.
They couldn't pick it up because it was all him, and that was such a original idea. The art style, everything about it was just amazing. So, yeah.
I wanted to what your son was saying about anime. There's a truth to it, and this is one of the things that makes me appreciate Toriyama. I've noticed. For a while now, I've just been looking for great stories to consume, and just kind of analyzing what elements make this story good. There's some stories that I never thought I was going to enjoy as much as I did, and I actually really ended up enjoying them to the point where there were a few animes that I watched that made me actually start looking at the manga, because the anime was one season, but the manga's on issue 350, and I'm like, wow, I really want to know what's going to happen next. And the anime, the manga is just as good as the anime, and so it just really made me like appreciate, especially hearing that Toriyama passed. It just made me appreciate all like his hard work. And I know like there's this culture of like being a workaholic, but there's a quality that you can't replicate. And I think that's the problem that your son's facing, because there's so much anime out there, but it's not all good. It's like a lot of regurgitated crap. And you have some phenomenal artists on some stellar shows, but like how many times can you see somebody like make a magic circle or you know and blow stuff up and like, but there's no element behind it. There's no character development. There's no building. You know, I'm only just now starting to learn the difference between like isekai and like ecchi and like all the different genres of anime, and each genre has like a hidden gem in it that's like incredible, and that's what put the genre on the map. And so I've been going through all the stuff and trying to figure out like what is what and what's cool, what's good, what to stay away from, you know, like. And it's so over. It's like you said, once something becomes overly saturated, it starts to lose its value. And I think that anime is going through that. And so like on your son's, you know, in his perspective, it's been hard to watch stuff, you know, like I said, there's also the element of like the 15-year-olds, but we won't get into that again. It's just like when you watch something and it has like personality, it has these characters, it has these moments, it has like this surprise that you just didn't see coming. You know, the first time Goku went Super Saiyan, nobody saw that coming. Everybody heard it and kind of like, you know, but if
that was mind blowing.
Yeah, if you were watching that story from Dragon Ball to that moment was like, what the heck did I just watch? And that is such a, I don't know. I mean, like the Spirit Bomb was supposed to stop Vegeta and it did it. And then he tries it again on Frieza. And then there's this moment of just going Super Saiyan and all these like little elements of the story that like there's building blocks to what matters. And that's the crazy thing about even like now you see some of those same building blocks inserted into the story. When he went Ultra Instinct for the first time, wow, it was a failed Spirit Bomb. Mm-hmm. Those kind of building blocks are the kind of building blocks that I think that people miss.
Also the building blocks, if you think about it, about Goku's failures. He has a lot of failures throughout his lifespan. Yeah. He even dies and they bring him back with the Dragon Balls, and then originally, like, you know, Toriyama stated the rule: you can only come back once with the Dragon Balls, right? Mm-hmm. So when he died the second time against Raditz, you're like, oh shit, what now? Yeah. Of course, he bends and breaks that rule again, but it shows you how much invested we are, because when that happens, we're, you know, as a kid, I was still like, what the fuck? and then okay, they're doing this whole fucking different thing. Or when Krillin died,
oh yeah,
you know, that was kind of heartbreaking, because you thought, okay, that character is dead for good.
Well, okay, so when Yamcha died, I'm sorry, I like the memes. I still love the memes of when Yamcha died, because he goes, "I got this, guys," and all of a sudden the meme is like they cut away and he's on the floor like laying on the ground dead. And I love how iconic that death is.
Or what about when they bring him back on Super and they're doing the baseball game?
Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that. Oh my god!
I want that figure. By the way, I want Yamcha on the floor dead. I want that fucking figure.
It exists.
I know. I want it. I do want it.
I want Yamcha.
My birthday's coming back in the end of this year. Get it.
I want whoever takes over Dragon Ball. I want a movie called Yamcha's Redemption.
Toyotaro, we're looking at you. Toybi.
Looking at you, Toybi. There's these characters that, you know,
fucking Yamcha. I'm sorry. Let's focus on Yamcha for a little minute, dude. Dude was like a badass desert bandit, right?
The Han Solo
of Dragon Ball, and he came in with that suave hair and the scars, and Bulma got her bloomers fucking moist over him and shit.
Yamcha ring.
Yeah, she's like, show me your Dragon Ball, and
she's collected.
Yeah, she collected that one for sure. So you have that, and then Puar in the corner, you know, doing his shape shifting shit, and you know that Yamcha was like, Puar, shape shift right now, motherfucker. Give me some Jojon. So all that shit, right? And then fucking Vegeta comes out of nowhere and kills him. Takes his girl. Comes back and goes, oh,
Keep on talking, keep on talking, yeah.
So Enrique's showing us the baseball clip of him dead on the fucking.
So
point is
Beerus
he
is
was
like, great job, Yamcha. And then he's like, right there in the baseball field, he's in
Another crater.
in a crater, and he's laying down the death pose. And then I think it's Krillin or Gohan who says, "I've seen this pose before.
This seems familiar." So like
This
that.
seems familiar." And then they do a little flashback to when he was killed by was it-
Cyberman.
Yeah.
So anyway, poor Yamcha, dude. He never gets a fucking break.
Well, back in the day when Dragon Ball was around, everybody wanted that Yamcha Riz, and then Vegeta came and showed him what a real thug was like, and then he was like, "Oh man, I mean, you can't get beat up in front of your girl and then expect to keep her."
And then that's another thing about Dragon Ball that I've always thought was great. And you had Yamcha, you had Tenshin Han, and you had all the other ones, and then they can never, supersede the powers of Goku. So after a while, they're like, we're just going to be in the background. We're just chilling with Yabura, like just chilling.
I brought the Senzu Beans, Goku, and some tequila. So when you're ready,
Don't remind me about the Senzu Beans and fucking Goku. Here, gives one to his enemy. I want you at full power.
Oh yeah,
what the fuck is that?
But remember the turn he did to Cell. He gave him the Senzu Bean.
Senzu Bean.
But what happened to Cell? Because of that, right? I mean, the ultimate he lost his power because it doesn't reawaken him to his it basically resets him.
Resets him
because because everybody else who he sucked in also gets So it's a little Deus Ex Machina kind of moment.
Yeah,
but so the Yamcha thing, the redemption, that actually is a redemption because remember, as he's laying in that baseball pit, and Krillin says that's a bitter memory about that pose, and then Yamcha says it is for me too, but this time I'll get a different walk off, and he wakes up and everybody goes over and cheers him. So basically, it turns into a win, which I love. So basically, whoever did that scene, whoever created the scene, which was probably the guy, it's his way of honoring what Akira Toriyama did, and then it's like a bookend, and that is beautiful. That's honestly,
probably the end of Yamcha's story right there. Dude.
But you know
love
what?
it.
But as much as I love that moment, and as much credit as he gets, because it's actually not surrounding any real stakes and there's no real emotion.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it does take away from that's part of you go forward and you just don't feel this emotional connection. They've retconned all the, if a person dies once, they can't be wished back. There's no stakes, and because there's no stakes, there's no reason to get as invested. Honestly, if you see Vegeta get his head cut off, which no one does anymore, but if you were to see Vegeta get his head cut off, you'd be like, oh, they'll just wish him back. And that kind of has ruined the series a little bit.
Oh, yeah, so I agree.
I think,
has there been any character that besides off villains from movies that has come back, that has stayed dead, and not come back? Because for a long time, Frieza was one, but then he came back on Super. You have Cell came back as Super Cell in superheroes movies, or
Lord Slug.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That was a one-off villain. So I'm talking about main characters that have not come back. Majin Buu was reincarnated.
Deborah.
Oh wait, I got one. Nappa.
You know what?
Vegeta.
What I absolutely would love to see is the next arc. Someone wishes the Saiyans back, and Broly would be on planet Vegeta, and all the Saiyans are back.
Go back, and Broly would be in charge, or what?
No. So what I would love to see is them to bring back all the Saiyans, right? On planet Vegeta. They wish back planet Vegeta, and so. Why haven't they? I don't know. And then they would also need to retcon and pull back Goku and Vegeta and kind of make them more on the same level as what would be cool is a wish
if they gave away their powers to have that happen, to power the super balls, the big planet sized ones, and they use their power to basically for the Super Balls to absorb that, and then they
Obviously, they would
siphon
have
off.
to rechain.
Yeah, they have to siphon off.
What would be cool is if it was like they were tricked into it. So
Yeah.
like the principle that they thought they were doing, they kind of got played. And so when they go to Planet Vegeta, they find out how evil all the Saiyans are. So just like in Super with the Tournament of Power, it turns out that they're trying to escape Planet Vegeta, and they're having to fight their way through all of these other Saiyans, and these Saiyans are starting to develop powers that like they didn't know that they had. So like you have people developing Broly's power, you have people developing Super Saiyan, but because these guys are kind of like straight up evil, Goku and Vegeta are now being forced to redevelop their powers while they're fighting against all these Saiyans that have the same powers, and they're using them for evil, and they're like, oh, we got to stop this guy before he gets out of control, because if we don't stop him, he's going to try to take over the universe with the power he has. He's worse than Frieza. And then it eventually culminates with them having to face King Vegeta.
So
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be
Because
cool.
King Vegeta, I want to see King Vegeta.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would
we
be
got a glimpse, but not really a lot.
Yeah.
So let's take a moment to like see to honor the fact that Angel totally respects this character, this world, this life, because he's been saying balls this whole time and not chuckling or making some like joke. So hey,
Yeah,
my
no,
hats off to you, my guy.
I don't fuck around with Dragon Balls.
Your heart is on.
My
your
respect
sleeve.
for Toriyama, dude. I can't joke about Toriyama and Dragon Balls.
But you do fuck with balls, just not these ones.
Oh no, yeah, that's different. I'll cup yours all the time, but that's beside the point. Stay focused on Toriyama.
Somebody got to keep this show on the road, guys. Come on.
But my only complaint about that story, I would love to see that, but my only complaint is like I'm gonna do one of those Simpsons did it moments where Doctor Who did that like big time, because the Time Lords of Gallifrey got destroyed a couple years back, and that was like the whole story. And then you find out little by little that the Time Lords are kind of twisted. Like after so much time, they're actually not great people.
Yeah.
So for them to come back would be a catastrophe for the whole universe. So for the last couple seasons, they've been it's coming back. Oh no, it's not. And the Doctor keeps stopping it from happening because it's like we can't have them back. So
like,
that's my only like pivot as a geek. I'd be like, yeah, Doctor Who, but I'm down for it. I'm still down for it. I don't care. It works.
So you just I love that you brought up Doctor Who, because I've been thinking about that actually. The whole thing about the storyline of the Time Lords and Gallifrey, like it was such a central storyline to the initial reboot of that series, and back in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston, who played the Ninth Doctor.
One of my faves.
Loved him. But dude, I really like David Tennant afterwards.
I love David Tennant. He was my favorite for a long time.
But Matt Smith for me.
No, for mine is Capaldi.
Capaldi's amazing. Don't get me wrong.
I just feel like they did him dirty where they didn't give him great epic stories.
I was about to say
as much as Tennant or Smith.
Well, I'm going to tell you why.
And Matt Smith, I hated him at first because I thought he was a Tennant ripoff, but then after a while he made it his own, and I fucking love Matt Smith.
Okay, so let me say this. David Tennant was my favorite because he still had a lot of big epic storylines, because he was bombastic. He was very just energetic. He was great. I loved Matt Smith because he had the epic storylines, but they took his storylines and in order to nerf the Doctor's power, because remember by the end of his storyline they were trying to take away his mystique, and that was actually a central part of the story.
100%.
To take away his mystique because he became too powerful. If you remember in the first episode that Matt Smith appeared, one of the great moments, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it, is when he goes up to the rooftop after he gets dressed and everything. He goes up to the rooftop to tell this alien.
Oh, Prisoner Zero?
Yeah, Prisoner Zero. He goes up to them and he says, what are you thinking? He goes, get out, you need to leave. And if you doubt me, look who I am. And all of a sudden you see all these flashes of the Doctor.
And he walks right through the fucking image of the 10th.
And he says, hello, the Doctor's in.
Hello, yeah.
And then all of a sudden the thing just zooms away.
He's like, fuck that, I'm out.
And they took that away from Capaldi. And Capaldi could have been that, but they took that away from him because they wanted to nerf the Doctor in some way to make the storylines, to give them the Doctor back, that thing that you guys are talking about in Dragon Ball, that where it's
that reset.
The reset, in order to make like moments like when you cut off somebody's head or when Yamcha dies, to give the stakes back. That's what they try to do in Doctor Who, and it didn't work because unfortunately Capaldi, who was potentially the better Doctor, had very not bad storylines. I'll take that back.
No,
weak
storylines.
Yeah.
They were good. There were some great moments. like there were some great moments. I'm not
Yes.
going to get into it, but it was very weak compared to what Russell wrote for
Russell
the 10th.
T. Davis.
Yeah, Russell T. Davis. Yeah, but I'm calling him Russell because he's my buddy.
Sure.
So Russell, he wrote great for the 10th. Then what was it? Chernobyl? The Jodie Whittaker's run. The 13th Doctor.
I don't remember.
Chris Chernobyl.
I'm gonna lie that I didn't watch those.
You're
And
not
not because
missing
I hate
anything,
him.
and it's not because of her. She was amazing
I
as
believe it.
she was a female equivalent of Tennant. Like
Yeah, she looked it.
she acted like Tennant.
Yeah.
She even did the facial expressions. She did everything just like David
Has there
Tennant.
ever been a female doctor?
Yeah, Dr. Jodie Whittaker. She was the 13th Doctor.
And
She's related to Forrest Whitaker.
Hence the lazy
she
eye.
is. She is Forrest Whitaker. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's
Forrest Whitaker woke.
new pronouns.
He woke up and he became Jodie Whittaker.
Anyway, so she herself was great, but the storylines were like, to quote my buddy,
Fucking bullshit!
they were bad, and it sucked. And I was like, finish it. Have you seen the 14th?
Nakuti or
No. David Tennant.
Yeah, I saw those. I
Amazing.
went back specifically because of him, and I
Fucking
loved them.
amazing.
I
They
loved
were
them.
great. There was a great
And
send-off.
then, except, honestly, I'm going to tell you, I hated.
The split.
I hate the split. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I've seen videos of people trying to make sense of it. I don't get it.
It's a cop out.
It's a huge cop out.
It's a cop out, and I also was like, oh, come on.
Well, it's a way to give everybody what they want. He's alive still out there in the world.
give him a happy
It's
ending.
A circle.
It's a circle. It's a circle in Doctor Who.
You guys are
Everyone gets everything.
You guys are blowing my mind because I have never seen Doctor Who, and then like hearing all of these, like it's one of those things where you kind of want to go back and watch it because there's so much lore, but then like you just feel like I'm overwhelmed to jump in at this.
You know what
point.
you should do? You should look up a YouTube video of a synopsis of all the seasons because it's been around since JFK. You know, when this JFK assassination was like the second episode.
I'm going to say bunk that and say, you know what? They do when they rebooted the show in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah,
they did
you
such
could
a
start from
good
there.
Job of starting over that you understand pretty quickly that the character has a storyline and has a history.
100%.
And anytime they do callbacks, for the most part, you understand. They make a good point of explaining it to you. Although
they don't dumb it
the
down.
lore-
They don't dumb it
They
down.
don't dumb it down. If you know the lore, if you are an invested Doctor Who fan, it pays off.
It does,
but
1,000%.
If you're not, you don't miss a thing.
That's
by
how
the
I got into it, too.
Right. By the time you get into the David Tennant era, you're now a Who fan that all the references that are being made there have paid off from what you've seen already. And it goes on that way.
So it's the Dragon Ball Z of the Dragonverse.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
100%.
Ah, okay.
So anything before that is Dragon Ball. Anything
Yeah.
before the 2005 new
Dragon
Doctor
Ball.
Who. Everything before that. Then Doctor Who came back. Dragon Ball Z, like that. Then I would say the Jodie Whittaker stuff is Dragon Ball GT,
Gotcha.
and then now they're on Super.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so that's how it goes.
That makes more sense, and that makes it more manageable.
And I would say like it's like Dragon Ball. Matter of fact, the Saiyan saga is the first. It's the 9th Doctor. The Frieza saga is the 10th Doctor. The Cell would be Matt Smith. Doctor, and then so on and so on. So they're very, very parallel in each other if you think about it in that way.
Yeah. Bring back the stakes in Dragon Ball. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
They need to bring them back. And I think Doctor Who, I don't know that it's a good example of how they did, but they did do it.
Yeah.
Except at the end where they did the split. Now, that's weird. And
Debatable.
I hate to say that I'm not super interested in that guy yet. But is it good?
You know what? I saw it, the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
I liked it. I enjoyed it, but he's got to be fleshed out.
Okay.
He's got it fleshed out. And one concern, one real quick before we go, one thing that I do gotta say about Doctor Who that does bug me is the fact that whenever a new showrunner comes around, they basically almost 99% just anything that happened before they stop mentioning. Like, he was with Rose and all that, and that goes away.
Yeah.
Like with Matt Smith, it's never mentioned. It's like it's forgotten. Like these plot, I don't know, plot holes or something. Or it's just it bugs me. It just bugs me.
Yeah, agreed with that. Yeah.
Interesting. With all this storytelling, has made me really want to go back and just absorb some really good stories. So I'm definitely going to check out Blue Dragon. Definitely.
I'm bringing it next time.
Yeah.
You'll get it in 2 weeks.
I appreciate that.
And Doctor Who's a good thing to go back to if you want to get a antidote to the anti-hero stuff we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Doctor Who is feel good at the end because he is a persistent force for good, and he anytime he comes out on top, it's always in defense or in reverence of the human race, which is a great cause. Or rather, a great way to tell a story. I really like that aspect.
It might grow on you first. Like at first, it might be a slow burn,
Sure.
but after a while, you're like, oh, I can't
so.
stop.
The slow burns are actually the ones that I'm starting to appreciate more because it's the character development.
If you had Apple TV, I tell you, I'm just going to give you a code so you can join and watch them because I have them all on digital.
I got a link.
Although if you're having a slow burn,
yeah.
like anywhere in your body, don't wait until it grows on you. You might want to get that checked out as soon as possible.
Go see a doctor.
Yeah, go.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Okay, I got one question before we get out of here.
All right.
If we were to sum up Toriyama in one word,
Legendary.
Lovely. Can I change
You
my
ask
answer?
it. You
I was
ask it.
just-
And then you're like,
I was on the question side more so than I was on the answer side.
He's a beautiful man.
he's a sucker.
Hey, you know what? Visionary.
Vision. No, that's Seth Rollins. Because I am a visionary.
Revolutionary.
I'm Seth.
Cause I'm a liar. Oh, sorry, wrong guy. Is that wrong guy? Sorry, wrong Rollins. Sorry. Yeah, that's Henry Rollins, right?
Yeah, it's Henry Rollins. Doyle. Anything to say?
Rest in peace, Toriyama. Thank you for all the memories. Thank you for the great media, the great content. You've impacted generations more than you'll ever know.
Enrique.
Toriyama, when you get to wherever it is that we all go after here, say hello to your fellow visionaries because they're going to be there shoulder to shoulder with you, and we'll miss you.
If you want someone to blame for this podcast, blame Toriyama because he brought it together with his inspiration, with his humor, with his poop jokes from Dr. Slump. And yeah, they will never have another great anime like just storyteller like him for a while.
Piccolo at the DMV.
All his sus named characters, right? Like Bulma after panties, lunch,
Bra. Raditz after radish, Napa after Napa Cab. His puns are so fucking Majin Buu.
Master Roshi. Need I say more?
Majin Buu alone.
Does he have a penis named character? Is there like a Pito or something? I don't know.
That's a spin-off. We'll talk about that after.
Master Roshi is the original pervert.
Yeah. With his girly magazines and everything.
Nosebleeds telling Bulma, I'll train Goku if you let me see your panties.
And he's like
remember how he tricked
that
Krillin?
manga's hilarious.
Remember how he tricked Krillin and Goku to train them, to teach them by having them go and abduct like a beautiful woman. Yeah. Remember that? I mean, dude, that's sus, man. Master Roshi was a villain.
So to recap, just remember, rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. From all of us here at the Ouchcast, to you up in heaven.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.